Sorry. Thank you. Sorry about that. Good evening and welcome to a special meeting of the Putnam County Legislature called by the clerk at the request of the chairman. Tonight's November 25th, 2024. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Legislator Sage, would you lead us, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for the legislative prayer. I call on Legislator Nasarino.
We seek blessings on the tasks before us. Bless our efforts with clear insight, our deliberations with wisdom, our work with clarity and accuracy, and our decisions with impartiality. Amen.
Roll call, please.
District 1, Legislator Montgomery. Here. District 2, Legislator Goldman.
Present.
District 3, Legislator Andizio.
Present.
District 4, Legislator Nasarino.
Present.
District 5, Legislator Elmer.
Here.
District 7, Legislator Castellano.
Present.
District 8, Legislator Sage.
Present.
District 9, Legislator Crowley. Present. District 6, Chairman Yonke.
Present. Item number 4 is the reconsideration. It's a vetoed resolution number 215 of 2024, local law to amend the charter of Putnam County by amending Article 8, Section 8.01 entitled Department of Law, County Attorney. Discussion. Legislator Goldman.
Thank you, Chairman. Hopefully with my colleagues, you will understand me. Sorry. I think this is bad law. By passing this law, we will be changing the balance of power here in Putnam County. We reduce the law department and undermines the authority of the county executive. This law, I believe, is flawed because it conflicts with the New York State municipal home rule law. This local law will allow the county legislature to remove the county attorney for any reason or for no reason. Under the current system, we have checks and balances with the legislature and the executive branch. Each branch has its own authority, and we must depend on the authority of the other branch of government to function properly here in Putnam County. By passing this law, we are chipping away at the authority of the executive branch. In addition, this law doesn't go into effect tomorrow or January 1st. It goes into effect January 2027, 27 months from today. That's more than 2 years from today. Why did we rush this through? Why are we doing it now? We could do it a year from now. We could even do it 2 years from now. Why now? What's next? What other powers is this body going to go after? Thank you.
Legislator Elner.
I respectfully disagree with my colleague, Legislator Goldman. This in no way, shape, or form diminishes the authority of the county executive. What this does is add authority to the county legislature. I also believe that the law which you referenced is not correct. And even if this were to, and I'm not saying it does, diminish the executive's authority, it is still legal for a county to do such. That is why I will be voting to override the veto.
Let's see, go around the horn first. Anyone else? Legislator Nasarino.
You know, I'm reading the veto message, and it's my opinion that a lot of it is based on conjecture and speculation. It is the implementation of this local law would allow the legislature to fire the county attorney at will. I think it's somewhat insulting to challenge the integrity of the legislature to say that we would act in a nefarious way and 6 legislatures would just arbitrarily choose to remove the county attorney at will. That's not the intent here, and I think it's speculation to say that that's exactly where the reason why we're moving in the direction we are. And just to echo Legislator Elner, it is to give a voice to the legislature because the county executive, the county attorney rather, represents this body. So he goes on to also say that in this message that A legislator was the primary subject of pending ethics complaint and who repeatedly recused herself from votes at times. Discussions related to this legislation explicitly did not recuse herself from the vote on October 1st. And in fact, against the deciding vote of this local law. First of all, she did not cast the deciding vote. She was the first vote out of the gate. That's number one, first and foremost. And secondly, this was already decided that this local law will take effect in 2027, for which time that has no impact, which is why she exercised her right to vote, because there was no reason not to. It had nothing to do with the current attorney at the current time. By 2027, this person will be term limited out and there was no reason for her not to exercise her vote. I will be supporting this. I think that it's actually the county executive who has the authority to fire someone at will. And I don't think that's the direction that we would ever plan to go in just because. That's where I stand on this issue.
Legislator Crowley.
I just have a question. Why are we making local laws for a future body that half of us may not even be here for? What is the purpose of that?
Anyone else? Yes.
And I question what the purpose was of proposing this in the midst of a budget season that, was somewhat chaotic. And, we kept stating how chaotic it was and how challenging it was and how contentious it was. And, it's concerning that we created this chaos during a time when we should have been serving the people. I had the same points that Legislator Goldman made. I'm not going to repeat them. I just wonder, I'm sitting here wondering why we continue to waste our time on this. There's people that we need to serve, and here we are, probably for the third month now, addressing this, wasting taxpayer time, taxpayer dollars. I'll be voting no.
Anyone else? Yes, Legislator Sage.
I will be supporting this. I think the legislature should have the actual ability to vet or decide on their council if their council isn't representing them properly. There is no recourse for the legislature if there's a majority that sees that the county attorney is not representing their will. Also, to Legislator Crowley's point, all local laws affect future legislatures. I mean, every law that we agree on will affect a future legislature, so I think that's a moot point. But I will be supporting this.
Legislator Castellano.
Yeah, I'll be supporting it as well, and I agree with what Legislator Sage just said. Anything we do always can be undone by a future legislature as well, if that's the case. But I do think this was fair, the way we did it, a fair compromise to push it off until 2027. I'm in full support of overriding the veto as well.
Legislator Goldman.
I'll pass, thank you.
I just have a question.
No, I didn't.
Legislator Goldman's got the floor.
I'm fine, I'll pass.
Okay. Legislator Montgomery.
How do we define executive power then, if we are doing this? How are we going to, in the case of the federal government, is this going to be the case? Should we push our federal government to do the same and just maybe eliminate executive power? I just wonder, maybe we should eliminate executive and legislative power. Would save a lot of money for the taxpayers, and we wouldn't have this drama and chaos. Why don't we just get a county manager to hire an attorney?
Anyone else? Talk about drama and chaos and where it's coming from. We're not eliminating or taking any authority from the county executive. We're giving ourselves more authority. We are the legislative branch of this government in Putnam County. We should have the right to hire and fire the county attorney. He's the only, we're not asking to hire and fire any other department head. He works directly for us as he does for the county, and he defaults to us in the event of a conflict with the county executive. I saw in the veto message that this is retaliatory. This doesn't take effect until what might be the county executive's next term. There's nothing retaliatory about this. That's why we pushed it off for 2 years. I'll be voting for it. With that, roll call vote, please.
Legislator Anizio.
Yes.
Legislator Castellano.
Yes.
Legislator Crowley.
No.
Legislator Elman.
Yes.
Legislator Goulman.
No.
Legislator Montgomery.
No.
Legislator Nasarino.
Yes.
Legislator Sage.
Yes.
Chairman Yaki.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item number 5 is reconsideration. Vetoed Resolution 216 of 2024, appointment of outside counsel for the legislature. Discussion. Legislator Goulman.
Thank you, Chairman. I also believe that this is flawed in many ways. In the last discussion, a legislator mentioned that the legislator decides who the council, let's say, should decide who the council is. Well, who picked this council, this firm, to represent our body? Was it discussed amongst all the legislature? No, it was not. We are leaving the amount open that could be spent on outside counsel. So they can bill us really whatever they want to bill us. There's nothing in this piece of legislation that limits it. Recently, we lowered the ethics board request for outside counsel from their request of $25,000 to $10,000. And the argument was that, well, if they need more money, they can always come back to the legislature for more funding. We limited the ethics board, but we're allowing the legislative council with no oversight to spend whatever they want. This is wrong, I can't support this. Thank you.
Anyone else? Legislator Nasarino.
I'm for Legislator Goulman's comments, because that's not what's at the forefront here tonight. So, I just think it's pretty ironic that we're looking to see whether or not we can choose our own attorney, correct?
Yes.
Outside counsel. And it states here that the legislature believes that a conflict actually exists between the county attorney and the legislature. Is incumbent upon the county attorney to appoint outside counsel to represent the legislature, and that has already been done. Well, the crux of the problem is that this whole toboggle has not been created by the legislature. And now it's hard for us to feel that the county attorney can be objective in his selection of an attorney, and we don't really have good faith going on here. And we should be able to choose our own attorney, and he should step away from this, and for this exception, because it is the exception, since he's directly involved with the whole issue to begin with and created this. So I don't know how the county attorney in his capacity, it's sort of a conflict of interest for him to decide who should appoint us and who shouldn't, when he's the reason why we need the outside counsel, because of the complaint that was filed by him.
Anyone else? Legislator Elner.
Just go back to a comment that Legislator Goulman made. So we cut the ethics board from 25,000 to 10,000. How about a reconsideration and eliminate, give the ethics board nothing if we're so concerned? I mean, they have a right to choose outside counsel, so maybe as we continue with this, and I realize this is partially off topic, we may want to reconsider no outside counsel over there. But then again, how can a board have the right to choose their own counsel, yet when an elected legislative body cannot, that surely does not seem appropriate to me.
Legislator Sage.
I was just going to support what Legislator Nassarino was talking about, is we need representation. If there's a conflict with the county attorney, we should have unobstructed representation. We should have clear counsel that has no conflict. I mean, the whole purpose that we're looking for outside counsel is because there is a possible conflict, and I think it would just behoove us to look for something to represent the legislature.
Legislator Crowley.
So, as everybody just said in this room, that there is not everybody, certain members of this body said there is a conflict with the county attorney. You don't think that's reflective of what we just passed? You don't think that comes across as being retaliatory? I do. I feel that it does. And I do think that limiting the money for the ethics board makes it harder for them to do their job, because this is all kind of like falling downstream here. All of these things that are being done are because of something that was filed, and then this law that was vetoed was then put into play, and now this was put into play. And it's all just kind of tumbling down, and it does paint a picture. And I find it to be silly that we can't work things out as a body and work together and work towards resolving an issue.
Go ahead.
I just think it's difficult. It's a difficult position for us. It's a difficult position for the county attorney. But the county attorney is supposed to represent us. We haven't seen him since May. He hasn't been to our budget meeting. We had probably the biggest lawsuit settlement that the county, in county history. He wasn't present for that either. He's supposed to, when push comes to shove, whether it's the executive branch or the legislative branch, represent us. He has done none of those things. Now, we're expected to believe that in good faith, he's going to choose an objective law firm that's going to look out for our best interests. It's skeptical. I don't want to think that way, but we should have the right to choose someone we feel is unbiased, unrelated, unaffiliated, and it should be our choice, just for those reasons.
Yes.
Thank you, Chairman. Legislator Nassarino just said something very important. She said "we," and I think that's the point that we've all been asking. We. This wasn't a decision made by the body. It was a decision that was made. We weren't spoken to and said, well, are you okay with this law firm? Are you okay with entering into this contract? It wasn't a discussion that was had. And I think that's an imperative part of this when spending money, is that we should be able to vote on the law firm that we're choosing before, just like with any RFP that we put out there and any firms that we decide to take on as a county. We should be taking a vote if we're going to choose this, and then move forward with funding if that's what we so decide to do. But we haven't done that. No, we didn't.
We haven't hired anybody. Yes.
I believe the law allows for the chairman of the legislature to choose the outside counsel, just as the law clearly states that the county attorney is the sole authority in choosing, excuse me for a second. Well, we have the power to appoint outside counsel on per case basis. The approval must be obtained by both the chairperson and the county attorney. That's what the law states. So I feel like I'm wondering why we're doing this once again. The law department is very busy, we're all very busy, and here we are once again. There's things that, people need in the county, some things that need law review, memorandums of understanding for towns, and contracts to be made, and this is what we continue to do for the third, fourth month. How long are we going to do this? How long are those people in our community going to be sidetracked because we're spending our time on this instead of serving the people in our community.
To that point, I'll stay here till midnight if I need to. And I think all of us demonstrated during the budget process that we're committed to spending our time. So nobody's the public's not being cheated out of our time and our attention.
If I may, respond to that.
No.
No, you need to
Legislator
let me
Elner-
respond to
Legislator
that.
El- no, I
I'm not
don't.
referring to
Legislator
you.
Elner.
We have all departments that are spending their time working on these issues
Great.
for us.
Legislator Elner.
I do get to speak,
No,
I just
you don't have the floor.
Yeah,
Point out
but when
for correction
somebody
of the
else
record,
who's a
this
Republican
was
can
discussed.
interrupt,
This
then
was
that's okay,
discussed, in the entire legislative body.
because you hate democracy.
And the choice of the firm was voted on by 6 yeas and 3 nays. Legislator Crowley voted against this, and this was done at a full meeting on October 1st, 2024, which is on the last page of our package.
Right, they haven't been contracted. We haven't done any work with
Yeah, but it was discussed among the full legislature.
Legislator Crowley.
It was discussed outside council after, yes, as per procedure, the chairman does pick, but it wasn't discussed if we were all, I read it, Legislator Allen, thank you. It was proposed that that was going to be the firm. It wasn't an RFP put out, none of that was done. So I understand that, I'm just speaking from my heart, telling you how I feel, that we never discussed as a whole, saying, I would like this firm, this is what this firm brings to the table. There wasn't that discussion that was had. It was, do we want outside counsel? And then you, as the chairman, respectfully have the right to choose. That's what I'm saying.
Anyone else? Legislator Nasarino.
So you do have the right to choose, and that's the process that we have, and along with the county attorney. The fact is, and the reality is, that the county attorney is not working for us, he's working against us in this situation. So it makes it very difficult to have him amicably pick someone along with the chair. And again, we didn't start this fire. This all came on to us. We didn't start this. And this is what it is. So it is a conflict of interest. It's a conflict of interest to him. If he's not looking out for our best interests, to select someone that he may know or he may like or he may feel that is justified, but it doesn't give us the prerogative to choose who we feel would be justifiably good.
Anyone else? Legislator Sage.
Just a couple of points. One thing that I keep hearing over and over again, including in the veto message, is this is a retaliatory decision. That could not be further from the truth. Decisions that I make here in the legislature are not retaliatory in nature. In fact, the retaliatory came the day after the Rules Committee in May. That's when the retaliatory started. And that's not in the legislature's MO. It never has been for the whole time I'm on here. All of a sudden, we're hearing retaliatory after the May 16th meeting. I'd also like to say that we have a record in this county for hiring outside counsel from our law department. So we're farming out a lot of our work. Maybe, we need to hire some attorneys, but we're also, we have a lot going outside counsel. The issue here is can we hire outside counsel? That's what we're voting on here tonight, is can we hire outside counsel? The chairman has the ability to choose. So that's the only points I wanted to make.
To the point of, if I may.
Yes.
To the point of what we keep hearing tonight and for the past 3 months, I think we keep hearing that we didn't start this fire. I believe we did, or a member of this legislature did, and it's an assault on the people of this county. The very nature of why this started is the fire that it's the match that lit the fire, and that's why we're here, and that's why we keep going back and forth with this. We didn't start this. One member of this legislature started this and was not forthright in the information provided during the sale of a property, the potential sale of a property, and that's why we're here.
Anyone else?
I think that's pretty harsh to decide and say something so emphatic about something that has yet to be considered, and the merits and the pitfalls of what the situation is, to emphatically say something like that.
Is it not
like
true?
it's guilty.
Isn't that why we're here?
No, we don't know what's true and what's not.
Well, I was at that meeting.
And that's why we're not cross-talking. But, we're sitting here passing judgment when judgment is going to be reserved by the Ethics Board. And that's why we need representation.
Anyone else? To be clear, I heard somebody say we cut the ethics board with the funding from 25. We funded $10,000 to the ethics board. We gave them $10,000 to conduct whatever investigation they need to accomplish. If they need more than $10,000, I thought that was a reasonable number. If they need more than that, they can come to us, and I'm sure every one of us would be amenable to giving them more money. To be very, very clear, it was the county attorney who declared that there was a conflict. That's why we were appointed outside counsel. It was just that I felt that we should be the ones that determine who our outside counsel should be, not the county attorney. He's conflicted. When it comes to spending money on outside counsel, nobody on this legislature made a peep in the multiple times the county attorney's office came here for fund transfers of $50,000 moves after $50,000 moves. Nobody's ever said a word about that, but all of a sudden, we're worried about how much the legislature could spend on outside counsel. They're racking up bills like we've never seen before, and nobody said a word about that. As far as Legislator Montgomery starting the match that started the fire, the match that started this fire was the day we got a decision from a judge regarding a lawsuit that we were unaware was ever filed. It was filed in December of 2023. The decision came down in May of 2024. That lawsuit was never on any of our litigation reports. We were never apprised of it. Nobody ever brought it forward to us. And we had the audacity to ask that the county attorney come in and explain himself. And that's when the fire started. All right? And that's the truth, that's the fact, and I'll be supporting this. We're a branch of government. We should have every right to determine who represents us.
Chair,
Yes,
filed without permission.
without the consent or authorization of this legislature. That's,
Or the
thank
county
you.
executive.
Thank you. Well, they claim they got it from the county executive, but that,
Did not pan out.
yeah. Roll call vote, please.
Legislator Edmisio.
Yes.
Legislator Castellano.
Yes.
Legislator Crowley.
No.
Legislator Elman.
Yes.
Legislator Goldman.
No.
Legislator Montgomery.
No.
Legislator Nasarino.
Yes.
Legislator Sage.
Yes.
Chairman Yonke.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. I'll make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Kevin's on the guidance, but we tried to get assistance from.
Is anything happen?
Yeah.
Okay, welcome to the Audit and Administration Committee meeting for November 25th, 2024. If we could rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Legislator Goulman, if you could lead us in the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If we could have roll call.
Legislator Allner?
Here.
Legislator Goldman?
Present.
Chairman Castellano?
Present. Moving on to item number 3 is the acceptance of minutes for the September 23rd, 2024 meeting. Unless there's any objections, I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. Okay. Item number 4 is correspondence from the county auditor. We have a few FYIs in front of us tonight. 4A is the sales tax report. We had the last reporting month was a healthy month as compared to the year before. We're in great shape for the year 2024. Any questions or comments? Yes, let's
Can we just state it into the record for the public, because they're not going to look it up, and I think it's important that the public knows.
The amount for the month
Yeah, thank you.
of October 2024 was $6,701,109.
Thank you.
That's up by $180,909 from the previous October in 2023. We're in a really good shape going into the end of the year, as we're at $71,529,338 for 2024. We're going to obviously surpass our budgeted amount probably next month, hopefully, and hopefully have some surplus in this line as well. Any other comments or questions? Okay, moving on to the OTB report. I want to make a motion to include the additional that we just received today from OTB. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. So, as we've been discussing OTB over the years, obviously, it's no longer going to be in business, as we just got a letter recently sent to us that they're going to cease operations at the end of this month, November 30th, 2024. Certainly, this affects property that is in Brewster that we cover some expenses for. We have some incoming money in the last month of October of 2024 of $880. And we've been struggling for the last few years with OTB as we're not sure what was in the future, but now we have this letter that's telling us that they're ceasing operations. Open up for any discussion, any questions anybody might have. I'm sorry, this Legislator Goulman, we'll start with the committee.
Thank you, Chairman. Are they only getting rid of the Catskill region or all of New York State off-track betting?
I think the letter just says Catskill region is what the letter was.
Does anyone know if it's the whole state or?
I'll defer to Legislator Yonke.
I spoke with Wanda Williams this morning. She's the president of Catskill off-track betting. It's only Catskill off-track betting, but with the advent of these terminals, you can go to a bar and the racinos, they really did a number on the business model of OTB. They are shutting down. She would like to see OTB resurrected, but this is only for Catskill OTB. They are selling off the property in Brewster, which they've owned. It's been tax exempt. It's been on the market for a little less than a year. Scheduled to close, she advised me by the end of the year.
They have a buyer for that property?
They have a buyer for the property. They actually met with the town of Southeast supervisor, planning board chairman, and planning this morning. The potential buyer, looks like it's ready to go.
That's good news. Any other questions or comments? Legislator Goulman?
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, in your conversation, did the Empire Casino come into discussion at all? Are they going to do off-track betting in Monticello or no? Thank you. They're getting rid of that
Track
also?
there.
Yeah, but they have off-track betting in that operation also. They do sports
They
betting
have,
and...
what they call VLTs, video lottery terminals, video terminals. They have those in the casino, but Monticello is a racetrack.
Yeah, there's two separate operations. The racetrack does not have gambling in it. It did at one time. Now they have a separate operation that,
I've never been there, I don't know that
Okay.
detail.
thank you.
I don't even, maybe they're not part of this whole Catskill region one either. I mean, the money that has been coming into us over the last few years has been coming from these vending machines that we're sort of unaware of and, only produced, earlier this year, $1,357, $1,500, $1,175, but, not enough to make that property that they have here in Brewster viable there.
Apparently, it went from a very, very
Right.
big business to almost nothing.
Sure. I mean, look at the numbers. I mean, we have numbers back to 2009. January 2009, it was $126,704 that was incoming to us. We were budgeting $550,000 for the year, but as you could see over the years, we've limited a lot. So it is what it is. I mean, it's a different world today than it was in 2009, I'm sure. But I'm happy to hear that the property in Brewster might be coming back, hopefully into online on the tax rolls in the town of Southeast. I will certainly follow up with the town as well. I did not know they spoke today.
The one in Mayapack is no liquor store, actually, so.
Yeah, well, that property they got rid of a while ago. They were leasing that property. This property they owned in Brewster. I think they were leasing the property in Mayapack, but they lost it, and then they gave up that lease some time ago. Any other questions or comments? Okay, we'll move on to 4C is the board-in revenue report. Another healthy month from the Sheriff's Department over there. It's $68,200, pretty much on target for the year. Hopefully, the last 2 months will be a little bit above that, and we'll hit our target. Any questions or comments? 4D is the transfer revenue report. Again, just an FYI. Any questions or comments? We'll move on to 4E, which is the 2024 contingency, sub-contingency report. You'll see there's a couple of proposed deductions on this, for this month. Questions or comments? Okay. Move on to item number 5, correspondence from the Commissioner of Finance. I know Michael Lewis is not here tonight. You guys want to come up? I know we have. How are you, Sheila?
Good, and you?
doing? I'm good. So,
Okay, so our overtime report.
well, we're going to move on one at a time, and if you have anything you want to add, feel free to add. 5A is the overtime temporary report, which we have every month as we get to the end of the year. I know at some point you guys will make some corrections to
Yeah,
cover the costs.
departments are working on the transfers.
Great.
Write the accounts.
Any questions or comments? Okay, that's just an FYI. We'll move on to 5B. 5B is the approval of budgetary amendment for planning, funding awarded from NYSERDA solar panels on the transit facility. This was also reviewed in physical services earlier this month. In the amount of $125,000 in state aid to cover the costs for this. We're going to put the money to good use for these solar panels. I'll open it up, any discussion? Any committee members? Legislators? Okay. I'll make a motion to move it to the full. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. 5C is the approval of budgetary amendment for finance ARPA allocation, administered projects per U.S. Treasury 2022 final rule. This was reviewed in the rules earlier this month. This is administrative costs that we're moving around, including money for the Sheriff's Department, if I'm not mistaken. Any, imagine this one. No sheriff. No sheriff on this
Couple
one?
of them.
On 5C?
No.
It's
No,
all- it's
in the
all-
packet.
It's just administrative costs at this point?
Yep.
Okay. This was obviously all approved and money that can be spent, so we're going to cover the cost of these administration costs with these ARPA funding. Anybody have a question or comment? Okay. I'll make a motion to move it to the full. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. 5D is the approval of budgetary amendment for the Commissioner of Finance, County ARPA projects reallocation. This is amending the Resolution 135 of 2022, also reviewed in rules earlier this month. We're reallocating this money to DPW for the roads and paving projects that we have. Anything you can add to that? Just,
I
okay?
think it's been discussed, yes.
Yep, absolutely. Anybody have a question or comment? All right, I'll make a motion to move this to the full. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Moving on to page 2 of my three-page thing here tonight. Let's see. Item number 5E is the approval of budgetary amendment for the Health Department, increased costs at preschool 3 to 5 program. This was also reviewed in Health earlier this month. This is being reimbursed to us from the state because we have obviously more people to take care of in this program. Additional money is $70,000, increased revenue that we're going to put towards the preschool program here. Questions or comments? Zero fiscal impact. I'll make a motion to move it to the full. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. 5F is the approval of budgetary amendment for the Sheriff's Department reimbursement received from New York State Sheriff's Association for training and conference attendance. This is in the amount of $24,601.12. This is incoming money to the Sheriff's Department, and we're obviously just paying our Sheriff's Office and paying our bills at the same time here. Questions or comments? You're straightforward, zero fiscal impact. I'll make a motion to move it to the full. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. 5G is the approval of budgetary amendment for planning. This is small urbanization area funds. This is also reviewed in physical services earlier this month. This is a capital project which we have to cover 10% of the cost, which is $55,008. Another 10% is being covered by state aid, $55,008. And the federal government, federal aid is covering 80% of the cost, which is $440,061. So it has a bit of a fiscal impact in the amount of $55,008 towards our budget. But we're doing some good stuff for Putnam County here. Any questions or comments? I'll make a motion to move it to the full. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. 5H is the approval of budgetary amendment for the Health Department. This is local Health Department performance incentive program. This was also reviewed in Health earlier this month. It's in the amount of $20,099 of state aid that's coming to Putnam County that we're going to put in appropriate categories within the Health Department. Pretty straightforward, zero fiscal impact. Any questions or comments? I'll make a motion to move it to the full. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. 5I is the approval of budgetary amendment for ARPA reallocation for golf course renovation project. This is also reviewed in rules. Earlier this month, we're reallocating some of this ARPA funds to cover other costs that, since we couldn't use the $400,000 on this project, so it is a fiscal impact of $400,000. Questions or comments? I'll make a motion to move it to the full. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
5J is the approval of a budgetary amendment for DPW. This is guardrail damage compensation insurance recoveries. As Mr. Matt Bruno continues to recover some money from the insurance companies here, this is in the amount of $8,256.31 to cover some of the damages that were caused to our properties here in Putnam County. Great work by Mr. Bruno. Pretty straightforward, zero fiscal impact. Any questions or comments? I'll make a motion to move this to the full. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. 5K is the approval of budgetary amendment for the golf course. This is contractual payments due to increased activities, which is a really good thing for our golf course here. It's in the amount of $450,000, increased revenues. Zero fiscal impact. This is incoming money to us here in Putnam. Questions or comments? I'll make a motion to move it to the full. We'll have a second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. 5L is the approval of budgetary amendment for ARPA reallocations for the Sheriff's Department. This is School Safety Axon Officer Safety Technology Program, approved in concept and rules. And now we have our resolution in front of us to move this $800,000 to cover the costs. Great use of ARPA funds, zero fiscal impact to us here in Putnam. Questions or comments? I'll make a motion to move it to the full. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. 5M is the approval of budgetary amendment for ARPA reallocation for the Sheriff's Department. Again, School Safety, Youth Bureau reallocation, approved in concept in the Rules Committee. Again, this is for School Safety and the Youth Bureau. And we're just moving the money around. Federal aid, $200,000, zero fiscal impact. Questions or comments? Yes, sir.
Just want to clarify, in discussions with DPW, this is in addition to $125,000 that's in the capital projects budget for the Youth Bureau move, or I should say relocation.
Great, thank you. Any other questions, comments? Okay, I'll make a motion to move it to the full. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Item number 6 is the approval of a fund transfer for Department of Social Services for 2 conference call hubs in the amount of $1,207. This is to reappropriate funds to purchase these 2 conference call hubs. Zero fiscal impact as we're moving some money around within our budget. Pretty straightforward. Any questions or comments? It's just for signature, it's not going to the full. Zero fiscal impact. I will make a motion to sign. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Item number 7 is the approval of a fund transfer for DPW, road machinery overtime through year's end. Also reviewed in physical services earlier this month. It's in the amount of $4,900 that we're moving some money around, so it's zero fiscal impact to cover the cost of overtime to the end of the year. Questions or comments? I'll make a motion to move it to the full. Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. Item number 8 is the approval of fund transfer for Department of Social Services. This is to authorize client transport, also reviewed in health earlier this month, reappropriating funds for authorized clients transport. Again, the money's within our budget. It's only $500 to cover the cost for this. Pretty straightforward. It seems to be the right thing to do for our residents here in Putnam. Any questions or comments? This is not going to the full. It's just a signature. Zero fiscal impact, $500. I'll make a motion to sign. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Item number 9 is the approval of fund transfer for Department of Social Services, foster care recruitment giveaways, also reviewed in health. As was explained to us, there's certainly a big need for foster care parents, and there's some promotional items that hopefully we can have some people more interested in this program. This is to reallocate some funds to purchase the foster care recruitment giveaways. They're moving some money within their budget. It's only $2,000, but it seems to be an appropriate use of money. In this case, it was well received, I think, by all of us. Any questions or comments? Again, zero fiscal impact. This is just a signature, so I'll make a motion to sign. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Item number 10 is the approval of fund transfer for the District Attorney's Office to replace laptops, also reviewed in Protective Services earlier this month. This is the cost to cover replacing old and outdated laptops to keep up with the discovery demands that are so demanding of our DA's office right now. With that, it's in the amount of $15,000 that they were able to move some money around within their budget. Zero fiscal impact to cover the cost. Questions or comments? This is just a signature, not going to the full, zero fiscal impact. I'll make a motion to sign. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Item number 11 is the approval of fund transfer for the Health Department. Preschool cost increase also reviewed in Health earlier this month. These are rate increases that are giving to us in the amount of $190,000. We're moving some money around to cover the costs. Zero fiscal impact as we can move the money within the budget here. Any questions or comments? Again, this is just for, this is a rate increase that we have no control over. We're just paying our bills at this point. Then I'll make a motion to move it to the full. Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. Item number 12 is the approval of fund transfer for the Health Department. This is the nursing overtime for year's end, also reviewed in Health. As we've been discussing, we are certainly short on nurses in Putnam County here. Fortunately, we have some money that we can cover the cost in the amount of $14,000 towards the end of the year to cover the overtime expenditures that we have. Zero fiscal impact. Questions or comments? I'll make a motion to move this to the full. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Item number 13 is the approval of fund transfer for the Health Department, Environmental Health Services overtime through the year's end, also reviewed in Health. This is in the amount of $13,140 to cover the cost of potential overtime to the end of this year. Fortunately, we were able to move the money within the budget, zero fiscal impact, $13,140. Questions or comments? This is just for signature, not going to the full, zero fiscal impact. I'll make a motion to sign. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Moving on to page 3. Item number 14 is the approval of fund transfer for the Department of Social Services. This is the foster home recruitment activities, also reviewed in Health. It's in the amount of $12,000. This is to cover expenses specifically related to foster home recruitment activities that the department is trying to create in hopes of finding some more people that will be participating in foster care. This is, again, zero fiscal impact as they're moving money around, $12,000. It's not going to the full, it's for signature. Any questions or comments? Definitely, I believe it's the right thing to do here. I'm going to make a motion to sign. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Item number 15 is the approval of fund transfer for the Health Department. This is the rabies vaccine, which was also reviewed in Health. We've discussed this a number of times over the course of the year. There's an increase in rabies activities here in Putnam County, and certainly we're responsible to cover the costs for some of these people who need help with vaccinations, et cetera. It's in the amount of $3,700. Zero fiscal impact as we're moving money within the budget. Questions or comments? Again, it's just for signature, it's not going to the full, zero fiscal impact. I'll make a motion to sign. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Item number 16 is the approval of a budgetary amendment for finance. The 2024 and 2025 salary and benefit costs pursuant to the ratified contract settlement between Putnam County and PCSEA. This is also reviewed in personnel earlier this month. We're going to move some money out of contingency to cover the cost for this contract agreement, and hopefully we'll have a signed contract shortly. Another union with a contract is always good for us here in Putnam. Any questions or comments? This is a resolution. I will make a motion to move it to the full. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 17 is the approval of a budgetary amendment for finance. This is legal aid 18B, also reviewed in protective services earlier this month. This is legal aid, $125,000. That's going to come out of contingency to cover the increased costs. Again, here we are paying our bills for this legal aid service, trying to do the right things here for Putnam County. This is, the above is proposed budgetary amendment to adjust the appropriations to the end of the year based on the estimates for 18B claims and misdemeanors, felonies, criminal, and family court appeals. $125,000. Fortunately, we have it in contingency to cover the cost. Questions or comments?
Just a comment.
Yes,
Mr. Chair, and we're obligated to meet this.
We are obligated.
Yeah, this is an obligation that we are compelled to do.
Certainly more money than we were expecting, $125,000 that we have in contingency that we're going to move over to cover the costs. That being said, I'll make a motion to move it to the full. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Item number 18 is the approval of a fund transfer for the law department. This is the NYMER invoices through year's end. Also reviewed in rules to cover the NYMER invoices, again, to the year's end. The amount of $30,000 out of general contingency, so there is a fiscal impact that we're taking it out of contingency again to cover judgment and claims to the end of the year. Questions or comments? Okay. I'll make a motion to move it to the full. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Item number 19 is the approval of the fund transfer for purchasing. This is the payroll asset manager procurement coordinator. We are moving some money around to cover the cost to the end of the year, paying it out of a temporary line, as it will be budgeted in a 2025 budget and starting on January 1st. $3,000 in total that we're moving to cover our costs. Zero fiscal impact for this. Received for the remainder of the year. This is also reviewed in rules earlier this month in the amount of $50,000 that we're taking out of contingency. Again, this will be a fiscal impact of $50,000 for the year to cover these legal services. Outstanding legal services invoices not yet received for the remainder of 2024. Questions or comments? I'll make a motion to move it to the full. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Item number 21 is the approval of fund transfer for Department of Social Services for furniture. This is an amount of $3,400 that they're moving some money around to purchase a bookcase for the Commissioner's office and replacing 2 broken desks and other returns furniture, I guess, items in the legal department. Department of Health, Department of Mental Health and Social Services, $3,400. Questions or comments? This is just to sign, again, zero fiscal impact as they're covering the money within their budget. I'll make a motion to sign. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Okay, item number 22 is the approval of corrective action plan from the audit of Putnam County's recreation and golf course collections. Thank you, Alexandra, for joining us tonight. You guys can give us an overview on this item?
So we were responding to the New York State audit that was done of the county's golf course. We responded to the audit's recommendations. One of the recommendations was that the county did not have a cash handling policy. So we drafted a cash handling policy for countywide. We tailored some of the policies as a general overview, because some departments now have to tailor the cash handling policy to their department. We also responded to the 7 key findings within the audit, which intertwined with the cash handling policy, which had to be passed first by the legislature in order for us to respond to 3 through 7.
And I'm sure you guys have probably started this process already, and how's it working out with the employees?
A lot of the policies have been implemented. They have been responding very well. A lot of them have been very productive with the feedback and the guidance of how to oversee the handling of monies when they're received. It gives more guidance and more safeguarding on taxpayers' monies, that they're accounted for. The documentation is within the county for backup. We probably will at some point be audited again, and we will have all substantial backup that we need to explain where the money is, where it's going, and what it's going to.
Very good. Any questions or comments from any of the legislators?
Just thank you to Alexandra and Sheila. I know that you guys have been putting a lot of work on this.
Okay. Anybody else have a question? Yes, legislator?
Thank you.
Anthony?
Just reading here, the park attendant position has been upgraded to senior account clerk, which requires the employee to have a fiscal background. Is that, so that was some part of the implementation?
Yes, that was part of the implementation. I know Mike, the Commissioner of Finance, had worked with DPW to get someone in there with a stronger fiscal background. They collect, it's not a lot of money, but any money that's collected should be safeguarded and should be properly accounted for. So to have a fiscal background is certainly important, so that everyone knows where the money is supposed to go, what it's supposed to be used for, and where it should be when it comes budget time.
So the person that's there now, they're looking for someone new?
No, they've already been assigned. They upgraded the position to senior account clerk.
And that person that was there is able to take on that position?
Correct.
With a fiscal background? Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Any conversation about moving everything to like a credit card system as opposed to doing cash?
There's been talks about a cashless system. They're in the works of seeing what the cost would be, as we are not sure if it's, I don't want to say worth it, but if it's actually a positive movement to go cashless as
It's really expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the contract is up at the end of the year, and the golf course will be, will have satisfied the note in 2025. So there's a whole bunch of things coming into play right now. There's been a lot of discussion about it, but not sure that's going to get off the ground right now for those reasons.
There was a cost analysis done, and we're not sure.
Legislator Montgomery?
So we're charging for parking for concerts on county property. That's where this cash is coming from? No.
No.
So,
This is for operations at the golf course?
okay, all operations at the
Yeah.
golf course.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Not just the special events?
Okay, but they are charging for parking?
That's for the
special-
fire police.
Okay,
So that's to actually offset an expense.
so,
I think it's $3 a ticket that they started charging 2 years ago, I believe.
okay. And that they collect cash for that? I just don't know how it works.
When they're ordering it, I think there's a $3 surcharge for
Okay, good.
parking.
Okay, instead of handling cash when they're
Right,
parking.
right.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
what I
all
was
of that is done in
picturing.
Eventbrite.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, so I guess we'll have, two resolutions in front of us that are going to go towards the full. I think, we thank you again for all the hard work that you guys had to do to get this correct.
Thank you.
I guess I'll make a motion to move item number 22 to the full.
Thank you so much. You're welcome. Good Thanksgiving. You too. Take care. Have a good
So there's
Thanksgiving.
two resolutions that are needed, there's not one presented.
Okay, so Bob, I'll lean on you on this one. We'll have to get two resolutions to be presented. I guess it comes straight from the Finance Department. How would we handle the resolutions?
Come from finance, prepared by the law.
I don't know where it's been done in the past. I really don't know who did the one in 2016.
I believe it's traditionally done by the requesting agency, but if we need to draft anything else, we will.
So I guess we'll send a memo or something to Finance tomorrow to see where the resolution's coming from, or, so move this forward in concept pending the resolution. Is that- Does that work for you?
I mean, the agenda goes out this
Tomorrow.
week. Well, it's between tomorrow and Wednesday.
Obviously, it looks like it needs to be done right away for this. I mean, I saw where it has to be implemented by November 1st, so I'm sure time is of the essence. So with that, I mean, we're a little stuck here. I guess we can do it in-house if necessary, or maybe you can speak to Sheila. I don't know if you can talk to it about it. I know Mike's not available this week, I guess, so we do need a resolution to pass for next Tuesday. Okay. All right. So with that, I'll make a motion to approve item number 22. In concept, we'll have the resolution in front of us next week for the Tuesday full. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Then we'll have a second resolution for item number 24, the county cash handling policy and procedures. We'll have a resolution in front of us for next week as well, in concept, so I'd like to move it forward for the full. Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 24 is an FYI, the 2024 guardrail property damage table. If anybody has any questions or comments, let us know. Just an FYI. 25 is other business. Being that there's no other business, I'll make a motion to adjourn. Do you have a second? All in favor? Aye.